Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Or if you're joining me, thanks for watching. I'm going to be updating my 2025 reading journal, specifically the what I read or days I read spread that I have. So, as you can see, I kind of dropped off updating this, but I do keep track in my Hobonichi weeks of what I'm reading. And just based on the title, I can tell what type of media that was based on my color system, which is physical, ebook, audio, mixed day, and then none. So I'm going to fill this in and maybe we'll talk about what I'm reading or what I was reading while I was doing it. I tend to do this in spurts and not every day. I don't take my journal out every day, but let's see where we really the middle of the month. So August 17th, which was when things got busy. So I was reading The Summer I Turned Pretty, which was Kindle Unlimited, so it was an ebook. I was late to The Summer I Turned Pretty when the people were hyping the TV show. I actually finished it that day. I started reading it and went right back into the second book on that Monday, and then I had 4 days where I didn't read, and then 2 more days where I was reading that. So we'll just, we have this blue open. I don't typically read romance. This year, I think, was the most romance I had been reading. It was one of my top genres. And I liked this. I think I would have really liked it if I had read it like when it came out when I was younger. I'm a married mom now, so it's a little off of what I'm doing, but it was still good. I liked the show too, probably more than the book. But okay, on the 25th, I did not read. I think I chose the wrong red, but that's okay. This is a little deeper. And then on the 27th, I didn't read. So I think I gave all of these 3 stars. I definitely saw the reading for the first one, and it was 3. So I was reading The Summer I Turned Pretty, number 2. On the 28th and 29th, I was reading that. And then I started Heartwood, which was a physical book that I got from the library, and I absolutely devoured it. It's one of my top 3 books of the year, about a hiker that gets lost on the Appalachian Trail. And I really liked it. It had multiple points of view, which is something I read it in 3 days. And then Monday was a mixed day, so green. I love multiple point of views. It was all, I think, mostly or all women that were the narrators in it. But I really liked that. Summer I Turned Pretty 2. I finished on the 2nd and gave it 2.5 stars. And then I jumped right into The Summer I Turned Pretty 3. So I read that until the 7th. It took me a while to finish these just because I think I was just reading it before bedtime. Then I started reading another physical book. It was a book of the month pick that I had called Maggie, or A Man and a Woman Walk into a Bar. It is a stream of consciousness book, very not like what I typically am reading. And I was not a fan, but it was fairly short, so I would kind of pick it up and put it down. It is supposed to be humorous. I didn't quite like the humor in it, so it just was a little flat for me. But let's see, and then I just want to make sure 14. So I got some no reading that day. I was really burnt out the end of this year, so my reading definitely fell off of it. Except that I would really try to read most nights at least a chapter or a few pages if I could manage it. So 2 no read days. And then I have 2 of the Maggies, and then I started Broken Country, which was another top read. So that was another physical book. I believe that was another book of the month pick at some point. And I really, really liked that one. I think I liked Broken Country, then Heartwood. And then I think my third favorite was The 7-Year Slip. Okay, Broken Country 3. And I gave that a 5-star and finished that on Wednesday of the next week. And then I started Babel, another physical book that I've had on my shelf that I would like to conquer. That one's hard. Long chapters for somebody who's only reading one chapter at night. So I am still working to finish that, but one of my friends told me it's worth it and that I should keep reading. So we finished out the year reading Babel, or not the year, the month. And then on, let's see, okay, so 1st through the 5th. So I am glad that I kept this tracker, because before I have months where there's so many colors that aren't, or blocks that aren't colored in, just because I didn't keep track of it. Okay, and then I read Babel through the 9th. And then had 3 no reading days. And then Babel, and then 3 no reading days. And then I started Atmosphere, which I did on audio, and did that for 2 days. And audiobooks I tend to only really do in the car. I should do it while I'm journaling, but I don't always do that. But I really liked Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, about female astronaut. And this one was, oh, I did the wrong color. I did an ebook, but it was audio. Oh well, I'm not gonna worry about it. Then I started, I finished Atmosphere on Thursday, 5-star, and then I started Filthy Rich Fae, which was from the library, also on audiobook, and it was not for me. I DNF'd it, at least in audiobook form. And then I started a physical book, Monk and Robot, on Friday, and was still, I guess, giving Filthy Rich Fae a chance, so that was a mixed day. And then Monk and Robot was a physical book that I had bought from a bookseller recommendation at my favorite local bookstore. And I finished the first, it's 2 books, and I'm going to forget, a psalm for the wild things, or a wild thing, and then a prayer for, I'll put them up on the screen, but it's 2 parts. Monk and Robot is the full book together, or the full series, I guess, together. 5 stars for that first part. On the 27th, I did not read. And then I started Monk and Robot Part 2. And read that for 2 days. Didn't read. And then I finished Monk and Robot on the 31st, on Halloween. And I gave that one 4 stars. I didn't like it as much as Part 1. But it was really good. I would recommend that one. It's kind of, my brother and I and my tattoo artist settled on it being a sci-fi. Then I started In Between Bookstore, which was a physical read from the library. It was not my favorite. I think I ended up giving it 3 stars. But it was okay. It was short, and I had gotten farther in it than I kind of would before I DNF a book, so then I would just finish it. So I read that all that week. 10th and the 11th, I did not read. In Between Bookstore on the 12th. Then I started an arc of The Book Witch, which I am still reading because I put it down for a little bit. But that's very good. I like that. That's Meg Schaefer, which I've read, I think, 2 of her other books. The Lost Story and The Wishing Game. Those were both really good. Let's see here. The 18th, I read The Book Witch. And the 20th. And the 22nd and 23rd. And then I had no reading days. Reading days on the 25th. And then we got The Book Witch on the 24th. In Between Bookstore, I finished on Thursday and I gave it 3 stars. And then Mate, which was a physical book. It's the one I just finished. Physical is orange. And then I finished the week with Maggie again. I was trying to get my reading goal done. So those were all physical books. And then 4 days of Maggie, and I gave it 2 stars at the end. Like I said, just not my cup of tea. About a woman whose husband cheats on her and they get divorced, and she gets diagnosed with breast cancer during that time as well. And then The Book Witch. The Book Witch is kind of fantasy, magical realism. She's a book witch, which they go into books to, save them from burners who are trying to destroy books from the inside, so that they don't exist. And there's some mystery to it, and it's really cute. I am enjoying it. I actually just picked it up again to read like 2 days ago, or whenever I finished Mate. Actually, I'm talking and not paying attention. This is supposed to be physical. I want to make Mate green because the book is black and green. But so Mate 28 and the 21st. And it's not a big deal that these colors are messed up. And then I read, like I said, basically a chapter. So it's taking me a long time to finish books. I'm going to do it again. I read that until the 28th, and I finished that, and I gave that 4 stars. So I definitely liked Bride a lot more. Just because I didn't feel like there was a ton of like relationship building or like action, I guess, in it. There was sex, and there was spice in it, and I really did like Cohen and Serena, but it was a little flat for me. And then I've just, like I said, been reading The Book Witch for the end of the year. And today's January 1st, so I'm going to be starting my new book journal, but I want to wrap this one up and archive it before I start using that. So I definitely, achieved a not formal goal I had, but having less no read days. The end of the year, like I said, I got really burnt out. I've been trying to really balance and find some balance, but I got sick. We've been sick forever. I've been tired. And then work was just kind of stressful the end of the semester. So I really hope my beginning of the year looks more like this. I hope my January looks good. These were the days I finished a book. And like January and February were really good. So we're going to try and hit the ground running, and I hope you enjoyed this, coloring along, hearing my thoughts on some books. But thank you. Consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you back next time for a new video.